Alrighty, Loader for Life here, bringing you guys a brand new deck profile, and today we got the Dream Mirrors, a deck that I've been messing around with for a while. I've always really been interested in this archetype from the very moment we first saw them, mostly because their artwork just reminds me so much of the Atelier series, especially this one, the main, I guess, character of the deck, because she's in, almost all the artworks of the spells and traps, but I digress. This deck has a really interesting play style to it where, the monsters switch between a good and evil version of them, and then they are able to get their effects off based on whichever is going on or whichever field spell you have out. And it makes for a very interesting play style, albeit a not very good play style. This deck has a very strong potential to be a good deck if Konami had given them another wave or two of support, because the second wave of support was a very, very good for this archetype, but the deck is still missing a lot, and for some reason Konami wants to move on to Goblin Pirates instead. So I digress, let's get on with it. First and foremost, we got 3 of Ygopro the Dream Mirror Spirit, or is it Sprite? Sprite. Yeah, so basically she kind of lays the groundwork for how the rest of the archetype is. While she's out on the field, if you have the Dark Dream Mirror field spell out, there's 2 field spells, one's light, one's dark. That's kind of like the whole idea of it. While you have the evil one out, you can tribute her to summon her evil version out from the deck, and if she is special summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror card, you can add a Dream Mirror card from deck to your hand, which is pretty good overall, just being able to search out any Dream Mirror. So generally speaking, you want to tribute her Ygopro to Dream Mirror Mara to special summon her to search out the fusion spell or the searcher or something. Speaking of Ygopro to Dream Mirror Mara, she can tribute herself to summon the light one if you have the light Dream Mirror out, and then also while she's on the field, whenever she's spell summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, you can spell summon 1 Dream Mirror from your hand, which then of course can trigger that Dream Mirror monster's effect as well, which is pretty darn good overall. These two are the core cruxes of the archetype in general, because Sprite can search out your other cards, and then Mara can spell summon your big guys out of your hand, which can then of course also really help out with everything else with what this deck wants to do. So, moving on, we got 3, going with the evil doggo first, this name, Phantasmos, the Dream Mirror foe. You're mainly using this dude who is a Beast Warrior too, which is pretty cool, and he's a level 4, which is pretty integral because this deck is able to make some rank 4 plays. You're mainly using him for his tribute effect to summon a doggo from your deck, because his actual summon effect is not very good. Basically, if he's summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror, he can attack directly, which is cool and all, but however, 1900 ping for damage is kind of cool, but attacking directly is not the biggest deal in the world. It's just kind of nice for the odd time that you need it. But mainly you're tributing him off so you can summon his good doggo version from the deck, Phantasmos, the Dream Mirror friend, who can tribute himself to summon the dark one, but also has the effect where if he is summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror monster, you can summon any of your level 8 or lower Dream Mirrors from your graveyard, which is really, really, really good. And is everybody except for the boss monster, because the boss is level 9 for some silly reason. Thank you, Konami. Yes, let's not give us an archetypal way to get the boss monster back out of the graveyard. I digress though. He is able to bring out the Knights. First and foremost, we got Morpheus, the Dream Mirror Black Knight, who is probably the better of the 2. Of course, he can tribute himself to summon the other one from your deck. And then if he is summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror card, you can pop a card your opponent controls, which is pretty cool. It's nothing particularly crazy, but it's pretty nice. And then we got Morpheus, the Dream Mirror White Knight, who if he's summoned by the effect of a Dream Mirror, you can make it to where, I believe it's either him or, this card cannot be destroyed battle or card affects his turn, and being a 2800 defender, he's kind of supposed to be the defensive card of the 2. That's typically how the deck kind of works too, I've noticed, is that there's one defensive and then there's one offensive effect, but I digress. Speaking of defensive, I do play 2 Effect Failure. You can also play 2 Ash or whatever. I kind of feel like the Effect Failure is just a bit better at the moment right now, but Ash can also be played. It's just down to you. Moving on, first and foremost, we got the Light Dream Mirror field spell, Dream Mirror of Joy. This one is honestly the better of the 2 field spells. Basically, during the end phase, you can banish this card, activate Dream Mirror of Terror from your deck or hand, which of course Dream Mirror of Terror can do the same thing, but some activating Joy from the hand or deck. You can only use that effect of Dream Mirror of Joy once per turn, otherwise you could just cycle through them all and deck them like crazy. Then, while it's on the field, Dream Mirror monsters you control cannot be targeted by or destroyed by, targeted by your opponent's card effects or their monster's attacks except your Dream Mirrors at the highest level. This effect is only applied while you control a light Dream Mirror. So, prevents your opponent from targeting your dudes for effects and for attacks except for your, basically your strongest Dream Mirror monster, which is pretty cool, but however, it only applies while you have a light Dream Mirror out. And it's the one that you want to control. I'm going to say that now because this is the field spell that you want to control, and then Dream Mirror of Terror is the one that you want to give to your opponent, because Dream Mirror of Joy directly references you having to have a dude on field. But Dream Mirror of Terror doesn't really care. So, it's a field spell, obviously. During the end phase, you can banish it, activate Dream Mirror of Joy. And then you can only use each effect of Dream Mirror of Terror once per turn. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, inflict 300 damage to your opponent. This effect is only applied while you control a Dark Dream Mirror monster. So, the big thing is that it has the worst of the two effects. So, you want to give your opponent the Dream Mirror of Terror because unless they're playing Dream Mirrors, they're not going to get that effect because they have to control a Dark Dream Mirror. But since they don't, oh hey, you can just special summon like crazy and not have to worry about that. And yes, there is a way to give your opponent a field spell. Because this deck works best when you have both out, but obviously since they're field spells, normally you can't do that. Moving on, we got Dream Mirror Phantasms. This card is like really what makes the deck. It has 3 effects. First effect is when it's activated, you can add a Dream Mirror monster from your deck to your hand, effectively being a searcher for everybody, which is really, really awesome. And then if a Dream Mirror of Joy is in a field zone, all monsters you control gain 500 attack and defense. And if Dream Mirror of Terror is in a field zone, all monsters your opponent controls loses 500 attack and defense. And notice that it doesn't care who has the field spell out either way. So if you have Dream Mirror of Joy and your opponent has Dream Mirror of Terror, you get both effects, and therefore there's a 1,000 attack and defense gap between your monsters and your opponents, which is really, really good. The big thing though is that you're mainly playing this to search out your other Dream Mirrors, and of course that attack and defense buff does stack if you have multiples of these out, which is just kind of funny, so it gets even better as it goes along. But you're mainly using it to search out your Dream Mirrors so you can actually get the effects going. Then we got the Dream Mirror field spell, Dream Mirror of Chaos. It's basically, unless you have the field spells out, it's pretty garbage. So, fusion summon 1 Dream Mirror fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters you control as fusion material. If Dream Mirror of Joy is in a field zone, you can also use monsters in your hand. If Dream Mirror of Terror is in a field zone, you can also banish monsters from your graveyard as fusion material. So that literally lets you, basically if you have the field spell out, both of the field spells out, it becomes a standard polymerization that also doubles as a miracle fusion. I'm mainly playing 2 because honestly it just, you don't really need, it's just like you want the boss monster and it's easily searchable, so there's not really a reason to play more than 2 in my opinion, because it is a bit of a dead draw if you do draw into it late, but I digress. So moving on, we got 2 Called by the Grave, just to kind of book a moon, well not book a moon, but stop my opponent from killing my stuff, because getting ashed sucks. Because then you lose your monster and you can't keep going, which really, really sucks. 1 Pot of Avarice, because this deck burns through its resources so fast. This is just really nice. 1 Terraforming to get our field spell out. We generally don't want to use it that much unless we absolutely have to, because we're mainly going to be getting our field spells out using Dream Mirror, oh dear lord, Hypognia. Hang on, wait. Hypnagogia. Hypnagogia. There we go. That works. So basically, you activate. You choose 1 Dream Mirror of Joy and 1 Dream Mirror of Terror from your hand or deck, and then place 1 in your field zone and the other in your opponent's field zone face up. You can only activate 1 Hypnagogia once per turn. This card is like literal set rotation, except it doesn't set the field spells, it activates them, which is really, really, really good. And unless your opponent's playing a field spell or they want to waste like a Twin Twister on it, they're stuck with the Dream Mirror of Terror, because you're going to be giving them the Dream Mirror of Terror. That's the worst of the 2, and you want to keep the Dream Mirror of Joy for yourself. Then we got Dream Mirror Fantasy. This is kind of like a mini Pot of Avarice for the deck, except it gets your dudes from your banished back into your deck. So if you control Dream Mirror monster, target one each of your banished Dream Mirror Joy and Dream Mirror Terror, shuffle them into the deck, and then banish one card on the field. If a Dream Mirror card you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. So not only does it get you back your Dream Mirror Joy and Terror if you had to cycle through them, which again, generally speaking, you don't want to, but then it also lets you get rid of a card on the field, and then it protects your dudes on the field, which is really, really good. And then we got their counter trap, Dream Mirror, oh dear lord, one Eromancy. It's a counter trap. Activate one of these effects depending on which of the field spells out on the field. When your opponent activates a spell or trap card, while a Dream Mirror of Joy is in a field zone, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. And then if your opponent would special summon a monster while a Dream Mirror of Terror is in a field zone, negate that summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. So the big thing is that if you have both of the field spells out on the field, you can use either effect, which is what you want to do. That is why I play 3 of this one, because it gets your field spells out onto both field zones, and you absolutely need that. Ideally, you want to search this off of Sprite, set it, flip it over, give you the joy, give your opponent the terror, and then proceed to go off on them. It's just very, very simple. Moving on, we got 2 of the boss monster, because I'm going to play 2 of the field, the fusion spell, and the deck doesn't have any recursion, so yeah. But anyways, 1 Euros to Dream Mirror Arrow King. He's a level 9 light fairy fusion effect monster. He's counted as dark while also on the field, which is really cool. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day, other than just making it to where, oh, you can have Dream Mirror Terror or Dream Mirror Joy's effects going on while he's on the field. And then he has 2 other really cool effects. First effect being that if another monster you control is distributed, except the cop, that's up like during the damage step, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. So whenever, that's just once per turn. So once per turn, whenever you tribute one of your dudes, summon another dude from deck, you get to pop a card, which is really cool. Kind of reminds me of the Dragon Maid fusion boss monster. But oh well. She actually bounces instead of destroying, which might be better in certain circumstances. And then if he dies by an opponent's card, you can spell summon a Dream Mirror monster from your graveyard except a copy of himself. Which does suck, but oh well, he does recur something from your graveyard whenever he dies, which is pretty cool. And did I mention he's 3k, 3k, so he's a beefy boy who becomes even stronger with the continuous spells out. Next up for the Xyz, one number 60, Dugaris, the Timeless. You're mainly using his effect to draw 2, but you can also use his effect to like pump up Hurricane to 6k or something. 1 Abyss Dweller to stop opponent graveyard effects. 1 Gust Armor, because hey, having another Avarice isn't bad. 1 Tornado Dragon to pop back row. 1 Link Kribo, because we got a bunch of level 1s. 1 Barricade Board Blocker to be able to recur to field spells from graveyard or to continuous spells, which is pretty cool. 1 Akashic Magician to be able to just bounce stuff. 1 Nightmare Cerberus for popping, same thing with Phoenix, and of course good old Unicorn. You do get the occasional time where you can make Surge of Skodred, which is really nice. 1 Mech Knight Crusadia Avermax, and 1 Boros Load Dragon for just being good boss monsters in the extract. And that is the deck. I really wish Konami didn't drop this deck. I feel like that with just a bit more support, the deck really could have been something. But unfortunately, for some reason, Konami decided to drop it and move on with another archetype. I don't get it. Maybe it's because the deck wasn't seeing enough success that they wanted it to. But also at the same time, they did the same thing to Time Thief, which is really annoying, but I digress. What do you guys think about Dream Mirrors? I really enjoyed the deck. It's a lot of fun. Here's hoping maybe one day they'll get some more support, but oh well. Thank you all for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday, and see y'all later. Peace out. Thank you all for watching the video. Have a great day. If it's your birthday, happy birthday. Rate, comment, and subscribe, and see y'all later.